Pink Floyd's body of work, more than just a collection of songs, constitutes a profound immersion into soundscapes that frequently echo the anxieties, alienations, and fears inherent in a world undergoing constant transformation, sometimes dangerously, leaning towards dystopian scenarios. Far from being mere musical entertainment, their concept albums weave complex narratives imbued with social, philosophical, and political critiques that resonate with the somber predictions and stark diagnoses characteristic of dystopian literature and thought. Throughout their prolific career, the band utilized music, lyrics, and visual art to construct imaginary worlds that, although fictional, mirror and amplify the oppressive and dehumanizing tendencies observable in reality, inviting the listener to a critical reflection on the present and the future of society. One of the cornerstones of dystopian exploration in the Pink Floyd universe lies in The Wall, 1979, a visceral and autobiographical rock opera centered on the character of Pink, a rock star in progressive isolation from the outside world. The album, metaphorically built around the erection of a psychological wall, poignantly illustrates the consequences of alienation, trauma, emotional repression, and loss of identity within an oppressive social and educational context. The figure of the overprotective mother, the brutality of the British education system personified by the authoritarian teacher, and the pressures of fame and the music industry all contribute to the construction of this wall, which imprisons Pink in a state of profound anguish and isolation. Within this narrative, dystopian elements manifest not only in Pink's individual oppression, but also in glimpses of a conformist and manipulated society. The March of the Hammers, Waiting for the Worms, for example, evokes images of an emerging totalitarian regime in Pink's fragmented mind, where individuality is suppressed in favor of a fanatical and homogenizing ideology. The lyrics and martial sonority of the song, accompanied by the disturbing animations of the homonymous film, paint a bleak picture of social control and state violence, a recurring theme in dystopian works that warn of the dangers of political extremism and the loss of individual freedoms. Another seminal album in the exploration of dystopian themes is Animals, 1977, loosely based on George Orwell's novella Animal Farm. Through a powerful allegory, Pink Floyd portrays human society divided into three castes represented by animals: pigs, the dominant and corrupt elite; dogs, the enforcers and controllers; and sheep, the working and alienated masses. The album's structure, with its long and complex compositions, reflects the systemic nature of oppression and inequality. In Pigs, Three Different Ones, the band criticizes figures of power and authority, exposing their hypocrisy, greed, and cruelty. The pigs at the top of the hierarchy manipulate and exploit the others, perpetuating a cycle of injustice and control. Dogs describes the rise of ambitious and ruthless individuals who, in their pursuit of power, become tools of an oppressive system, sacrificing their own humanity and that of others. Finally, Sheep portrays the passivity and lack of critical awareness of the majority, who blindly follow the orders of their oppressors, culminating in a moment of brief rebellion, only to return to their state of submission. The dystopia portrayed in Animals is not limited to a superficial political critique. It delves into the depths of human nature corrupted by power and social hierarchy. The absence of hope for a true revolution or a significant structural change reinforces the album's dark and pessimistic tone, characteristic of many dystopian narratives that question the possibility of escaping cycles of oppression. The Final Cut, 1983, often considered a thematic extension of The Wall, deepens the exploration of the consequences of war, loss, and trauma in a world marked by violence and disillusionment. Although more personal and focused on Roger Waters' fragmented psyche after the loss of his father in World War II, the album resonates with dystopian themes by portraying a scenario of emotional isolation, paranoia, and an overwhelming feeling of powerlessness in the face of a world on the brink of collapse. Songs like The Fletcher Memorial Home express a dark desire to isolate and silence political leaders considered responsible for the perpetuation of violence and injustice, a reflection of a profound disillusionment with established power structures. The oppressive and claustrophobic atmosphere of the album, intensified by the dense sonority and the lyrics laden with anguish, creates a sense of imprisonment in a dystopian future where hope seems to have vanished.
Even in albums like Dark Side of the Moon, 1973, and Wish You Were Here, 1975, which are not explicitly conceptual around a dystopia, it is possible to identify elements that foreshadow or reflect concerns about alienation, exploitation, and the loss of authenticity in an increasingly complex and technological society. Money, with its biting critique of rampant consumerism and the obsession with profit, echoes dystopian concerns about the commodification of life and the loss of human values in favor of materialism. Welcome to the Machine and Have a Cigar and Wish You Were Here expose the dehumanization of the music industry and the pressure for conformity, themes that align with dystopian critiques of the loss of individuality in oppressive systems. Visual art, accompanying Pink Floyd's albums, also plays a crucial role in constructing these dystopian sonic landscapes. The iconic covers, the animations of The Wall, and the elaborate stage designs of their live shows contribute to the audience's immersion in these imaginary worlds, intensifying the impact of the band's critical messages. The famous cover of Animals, with the inflatable pig flying over Battersea Power Station in London, has become a visual symbol of the critique of power and social inequality. It is important to note that dystopia in Pink Floyd is not presented as a linear prophecy of an inevitable future, but rather as an allegory, an amplification of the tendencies and dangers observable in the present. Through their musical narratives, the band raises crucial questions about the nature of power, social manipulation, the loss of individuality, the effects of war, and the importance of empathy and human connection. The longevity and relevance of Pink Floyd's music over the decades attest to the timelessness of these dystopian concerns. The anxieties expressed in their albums continue to resonate in a world facing new challenges, such as technological surveillance, the spread of false information, political polarization, and environmental crises, themes that echo classic dystopian literature such as George Orwell's 1984 and Aldous Huxley's Brave New World. In summary, the exploration of dystopia in Pink Floyd's albums is multifaceted and profound. Through elaborate conceptual narratives, lyrics laden with meaning, innovative soundscapes, and impactful visual art, the band built a musical legacy that not only entertains but also provokes critical reflection on the direction of society and the dangers of a future where freedom, individuality, and humanity are threatened by oppressive systems and alienation. Pink Floyd's work remains a powerful reminder of the importance of critical awareness and resistance in the face of the dehumanizing tendencies of the modern world, echoing the role of art as a critical mirror of reality and a catalyst for social change. The band's ability to transform collective anxieties and fears into immersive and artistically complex sonic experiences ensures that their dystopian visions continue to haunt and inspire generations of listeners.